So, Witta, come on. Can you come and lie down? But she's like, I'm on a yoga mat. Oh, I know. Are you going to come onto your bed? Because we're going to start. Come on your bed. Good girl, lie down. Stay there. You lie down. Yes. Well, good girl. Yeah. You lie down. It's the tail. It's so funny. She did it this morning and there was no movement and she was still, and then I said something to her and the tail just went. She really is the cutest little thing ever. It may steal her. So let's just find comfy sitting position. And Max, I know you're not used to my classes, so.
I've got myself right at the front. I've just clocked that.
You don't have to.
I haven't been to one of your classes before, but
you have people either side of you. It's fine. It'll all just go with the flow, literally. So just sitting nice and quietly. Taking a moment to center yourself on the mat. So we take this time just to drop in to that center of self. Not the mind. We let go of that. We let go of the thoughts. And we just observe them. I was listening to an Alan Watts speech earlier, and he said the most lovely thing, that the way that we can sit and listen to sound, and it's not ours, you know, it's just a noise that's going on around us, is the same way that we can start to drop back and observe the thoughts, just viewing them as another sound that comes and goes. So we sink back behind the mind. And take a moment just to sit and do a little scan of your body. Just checking in with the physical body. Much better. Good. I'm pleased. Just pop in here. Oh, okay. So just ignore the goings on and stay with your non-mind. That thing I was saying about thoughts, we might have to actually make a little bit of, or Kabir, you can come and visit right up front. Just ignore the hustle and bustle. If you can meditate through hustle and bustle, then you have literally found the answer to everything. So also when we're sitting in this centered seat of self, observing the thoughts, observing the physical body, just recognizing if you are working with any injuries, holding any tension. Just observing also the natural breath without trying to extend the breath or do anything fancy with it, just observing that natural flow. Look at the quality of the breath. So we have this constant flow of prana, chi, life force energy, flowing in and out with our breath. And we can use that really to inhale and create space to help to shift energy blocks in the body. And we can use the exhalation to really soften into those blocks, to release any tension. So often when we carry tension in the body, we'll start stretching our necks and stretching the shoulders and trying to get it out. And actually sometimes what we really need to do is give it permission to release. So as you're sitting, see if you're holding any tension through the hips. Can you soften deep into the hip sockets, deep into the pelvic floor? Can you soften the belly? It's very tempting to sit up tall on a yoga mat and want to sit there and have this nice flat stomach. Let it go. Soften the hands. Soften all the way up the arms into the shoulders. Breathe out any tension that might be in the face, the jaw, the space between the eyebrows. So bizarrely, we invite this tension in, we hold it as it happens. So we need to give it permission to release. So we're going to start with a couple of rounds of just a strong spinal breath. I'll show you what we're doing if you haven't done this before. It's kind of like a seated cat-cow with a very strong nasal breathing. It's always fun because the strong nasal breathing always comes in around the winter time. Everybody runs to get tissues, but see how you go. So we sit with the hands just softly rested onto the knees. On the inhale, drawing the shoulders back and lifting the chin. So we really start to arch the back. And then on the exhale, rounding and dropping the chin to the chest. So it's a strong. So we're going to do 10 of those, roughly together. 10 strong breaths. And on the last exhalation, exhale to halfway. And then we're going to hold that exhalation for about 10 counts. If you practice Maharbandha and practice the bandhas, you can apply Maharbandha. If I'm talking gobbledygook, ignore me and just hold your breath. That's a whole nother class. So hands rested softly onto the thighs. So take a long exhale to begin. Squeeze all the air out and begin. Good, last breath in. Exhale to halfway and hold. And as you're holding, soften any tension from the shoulders, relax into the breath hold. Observe any patterns or colors behind the eyes, any feelings, sensations in the body. Relax your shoulders, Kabir. Soft. Good. And then finish the exhale, rounding chin to chest. Take one breath in. And then let's begin the next round. So 15, exhale, inhale. Good. 5 more. Last one. Exhale to halfway, applying the bandhas if you practice, and just holding for about 10 seconds. And when you're ready to breathe, just coming back to a natural breath. So we're going to keep the breath through the nose for the class. If you practice with Ujjayi breath, then you can introduce your Ujjayi breath. Come forwards onto all fours and move into a cat-cow. So we're just taking a moment to really feel down through the hands, place them. And then as you inhale, extending your spine. Exhaling to round. Inhale to extend. Exhale to round. As you move with your breath, be present for each part of the movement. Feel the whole length of the spine as you do this small flow. Explore your body. And then start to circle the hips, so nice big circles. Good, and working up the spine, moving into the shoulders and maybe the head. Good, and change the direction of the circles. And then come back to a neutral position. So walking your hands forward a hand's length. Spread the fingers wide, root down through the knuckles. Tuck your toes and lift back into your downward dog. So take a moment to feel into it. If it's your first downward dog of the day, you can pedal the feet, shake out any tension from the neck. And then find stillness. Come back to your breath. Feel through Hasta Bandha, through the hands, really root down through that L shape of the thumb and forefingers. Through Pada Bandha, spread the toes nice and wide. See if you can almost spread the whole sole of the foot. That little lift through Mula Bandha, Uddiyana Bandha active. And then lift up high onto your tiptoes. Tiptoe your feet towards the top of the mat. So if you can stay high on the tiptoes, coming about 6 inches behind the wrists. Lifting from the core. As you lift up, see if you can put the weight into the hands. I know I'm asking a lot of hamstrings if they're feeling tight. Just go with it. Take a nice deep breath in, lift the hips and the heels a little bit higher. And on the exhale, release the heels down to the mat. Bring your hands onto your hips. And on the inhale, come up to standing. Bring your arms down by your side into Tadasana. Inhaling, floating your arms up. Take your gaze to your thumbs and lengthen. Exhale, swan dive forward. So take the length of the breath to arrive in Uttanasana. Inhaling, look forwards and lengthen to your flat back. Exhaling, step back. Take the length of the breath to Chaturanga. Slow it down. Inhaling to upward dog or cobra. Exhaling, roll back to your downward dog and hold. Again, observing the breath. Observing the sensations in the body. And on your inhale, step forwards, come into your flat back. Exhaling, fold down to Uttanasana. Inhaling, rise up to standing, Urdhva Hastasana. Exhale, bring the hands to the heart center. Good. Inhale, floating your arms up. Exhale, swan dive forwards to Uttanasana. Inhaling, lift to your flat back. Exhaling, step back, chaturanga. So remembering to be present through the transitions. Inhale to upward dog or cobra. Exhale back to downward dog and hold. Inhale, step forwards, come into your flat back. Exhaling, fold down to Uttanasana. Inhale, rise up to stand, Urdhva Hastasana. Exhale, bring the hands to the heart center. Good. Inhale, floating your arms up. Exhale, swan dive forwards to Uttanasana. Inhaling, lift to your flat back, lengthen. Exhale, step back, chaturanga. Inhaling to upward dog or cobra. Exhale back to your downward dog and hold it here. Again, relax any unnecessary tension from the neck. From the jaw. We can start to clench. It's a weird thing that we do. But on your inhale, step forwards, come into your flat back. Exhaling, fold down to Uttanasana. Inhaling, rise up to standing, Urdhva Hastasana. Exhaling, bring your hands to the heart center. Good. Inhale, floating your arms up. So root through the feet as you lengthen and lift. Exhale, swan dive forwards to Uttanasana. Inhaling, lift to your flat back. Exhaling, step back, chaturanga. Sorry, that beam is a bit annoying, isn't it? Inhaling to upward dog or cobra. Exhale back to downward dog and come back to the breath. So notice as we do this flow, what the narrative is in the mind. If you start to engage with it, or if you can just let go. Often we're like, oh, I feel really tired today. And the mind goes wandering off as to 100 reasons why. Let it go. Just come back to the breath. Remembering those thoughts are just like noise. They just come and they go. And inhale, step forwards, come into your flat back. Exhale, fold down to Uttanasana. Inhale, rise up to standing, Urdhva Hastasana. Exhaling, bring the hands to the heart center. Good. Inhale, floating your arms up. Exhale, swan dive forwards, Uttanasana. Inhaling, lift to your flat back. Exhaling, step back, chaturanga. Inhale, Urdhva Mukha Svanasana. Exhale to Ardha Mukha Svanasana. So can you feel that energetic line here drawing up from the hands through the arms into the core, down the backs of the legs, just allowing the heels to release. I'm not trying to push them. When we try and push the heels down, the back rounds. So we try and just allow them to release. One of the ways to help that is really activating the toes. Spread the toes. See if you can lift the toes, tips of the toes away from the mats. So we activate through Padabandha. Inhale, step forwards, come into your flat back. Exhale, fold down to Uttanasana. Inhaling, rise up to stand, Urdhva Hastasana. Exhaling, hands to the heart center. Good. Inhaling, sit back to Utkatasana. So connecting the arms to the core as you flow. Exhale, swan dive forwards to Uttanasana. Inhaling, lift to your flat back. Exhaling, step back, chaturanga. Inhaling, Urdhva Mukha Svanasana. Exhale to Ardha Mukha Svanasana. Inhaling, step the right foot between the hands, lower the left heel to the mat, Virabhadrasana 1. Exhaling, lower the hands down, step back, chaturanga. So three-legged if you want to. Inhaling to upward dog or cobra. Exhaling back to downward dog. Inhaling the left foot forward, so the right heel comes down, Virabhadrasana 1. Exhaling, lower the hands down, step back, Chaturanga. Inhale, Urdhva Mukha Svanasana. Exhale, Ardha Mukha Svanasana, and come back to your breath. Keeping that steady breath in and out through the nose. But on your inhale, step forwards, come into your flat back. Exhaling, fold down to Uttanasana. Bend your knees on your inhale, sweep your arms up to Utkatasana. Exhale, come to stand, bring the hands to the heart center. Inhaling, sit back to Utkatasana. Exhale, swan dive forwards to Uttanasana. Inhaling, flat back, so lengthen the front body. Exhale, step back, Chaturanga. Inhaling, Urdhva Mukha Svanasana. Exhale to Ardha Mukha Svanasana. Inhale the right foot forwards, Virabhadrasana 1. Exhaling, lower the hands down, step back, Chaturanga. So we take the length of the breath. Inhaling, Urdhva Mukha Svanasana. Exhaling, Ardha Mukha Svanasana. Inhale the left foot forwards, Virabhadrasana 1. Exhaling, lower the hands down, step back, Chaturanga. Just stay there for a second. Inhaling to upward dog. Exhaling back to downward dog and hold. Can you feel the difference? Lift your toes on this foot. Activate this back leg more because you're so flexy here. Yeah, it's just too easy. So actually really anchor to that back foot. Lift the toes away while you're doing it to remind you, and then soften into this knee. Feel the difference?
Yeah.
Yay. Good. On your inhale, step forwards, come into your flat back. Exhaling, fold down to Uttanasana. Bend your knees, inhale, sweep your arms up to Utkatasana. Exhale, come to stand, bring the hands to the heart center. Inhaling, sit back to Utkatasana. Exhale, swan dive forwards, Uttanasana. Bring the hands back alongside the feet. Inhale, lift to your flat back. Exhaling, step back, Chaturanga. Inhale, Urdhva Mukha Svanasana. Exhale, Ardha Mukha Svanasana. Inhaling, step the right foot forwards, high lunge this time. So power up that back leg. So the back heel's lifted. Yeah. Hold it here and notice. Can you feel really to in Virabhadrasana 1, Warrior 2, high lunge, anything where we've got that back leg sticking out? Often we forget about the back leg. So see here, you feel like you've got it straight, but actually often it's not. It's a little bit on the bent side. So power up the back leg, spread the toes wide. So it almost feels like you're really pushing into that back leg. That's your anchor. Then it lifts you up out of the hips, and you can soften the front knee and come down a little bit lower without dropping into that front hip crease. Does that make sense? Yeah. Good. Take a nice deep breath in. Exhaling, lower the hands down, step back, Chaturanga. It's all about energy direction. Inhaling to upward dog or cobra. Exhaling back to your downward dog. On the inhale, step the left foot forwards. So focus on the back leg. Really power up that back leg as you then rise. Then it stops you just dumping into the front leg, because often when we hold these postures, it's like, oh, the front leg burns, the front hip hurts. So use the back leg to almost pull that energy back down. So rather than it all bunching up in one hip or one thigh, we're extending it through both legs. Take a nice deep breath in. It's easy to say when I'm standing here, right? Exhaling, lower the hands down, step back, Chaturanga. Inhaling Urdhva Mukha Svanasana. Exhaling to Ardha Mukha Svanasana and hold. It becomes much more apparent when we move through the next few flows and for the next postures, because otherwise they can become really uncomfortable. You know, it really starts to get like, oh, and heavy in that front leg and hip. And we don't want it to feel heavy. Good. On your inhale, step forwards, come into your flat back. Exhaling, fold down to Uttanasana. Bend your knees, inhale, sweep your arms up to Utkatasana. Exhaling, come to stand, bring the hands to the heart center. Good. Inhaling, sit back to Utkatasana. Exhale and swan dive forwards. Again, bring the hands alongside the feet if you can. Inhale, lift to your flat back. Exhale, step back, chaturanga. Inhale, Urdhva Mukha Svanasana. Exhale, Ardha Mukha Svanasana. Inhale, step the right foot forward. So coming into your high lunge, power up that back leg. On the exhale, turn to the left, Virabhadrasana 2. So you lower the left heel to the mat. So here, if we just sort of relax the back leg, if you just kind of relax it, you can feel your weight dumps into this front leg. The back leg's just a bit, not really doing an awful lot. So power up both feet, lift the toes back, spread the toes wide and actively push into that left foot. So you're actively pushing down and then it suddenly lifts, it becomes lighter in the front leg. We lift through the bandhas, so Mula Bandha, that little lift above the perineum, Uddiyana Bandha, tummy button back and up, drawing that energy up so we can then soften down, come a little bit lower into our warrior and breathe. Keeping that connection to the feet. Relax the shoulders, not too tense. Take a nice deep breath in. Exhaling, lower the hands down, step back, chaturanga. Inhaling, upward dog. Exhaling, back to downward dog. Inhale, step the left foot forward. So power up that right foot and come into your high lunge. Exhaling, turn to the right, Virabhadrasana 2. So just play around with it for a moment. You know, if you just dump the weight down into the feet, that's why we have Padabandha, stops us just there, dropping the weight down. So activate both feet, lift the toes back, spread them wide. Feel that strength in the back leg anchoring you. Lift up through Mula Bandha, Uddiyana Bandha. Relax the shoulders, kind of in massage. Relax. Soften into the front leg. Wow. Good. Take a nice deep breath in. Exhaling, lower the hands down, step back, chaturanga. There's a trick for that. Inhaling to upward dog or cobra. Exhale back to downward dog. Kind of a trick for that. I'll show you in a sec. Yeah. The worst thing is when you're doing an Iyengar class and the teacher puts you into that posture for about 10 minutes. And you're literally like, I can't do it anymore. Certainly makes you look at yourself. And on your inhale, step forwards, come into your flat back. Exhaling, fold down to Uttanasana. Bend your knees, inhale, sweep your arms up to Utkatasana. Exhaling, come to stand, bring the hands to the heart center. So the little trick for everybody, often what happens, we come into our warrior, we float the arms up and the shoulders come up and we lift with this, we're lifting here. Really simple little trick is just turn the palms of the hands up, find that external rotation of the upper arm, and you will feel, if you do it just standing, just take your arms out to the side, and then turn the palms up and you notice your shoulders drop and your shoulder blades suddenly grip onto the back of the rib cage, basically what you're doing is you're connecting back into your core. This, you're lifting out of it. This, you're connecting back into it, which is what we always want. And often what happens, we do that and then the tummy spills out. But ideally, being the good yogis that you are, you've already got your bandhas engaged, pulling them back in again. But, you know, we're not aiming for perfection, but we try, and so we sandwich in. We have that strong connection to the core, and then you just turn the palms down. But it allows this to start to release. That works as more of a secondary or a supporting muscle rather than, oh, how long do I want to stay here for? So give it a go anyway. One of my little tips. Coming to the top of the mat. On your inhale, sit back to Utkatasana. Even here, connect, head of the arm bones, pull it back so you feel the shoulder blades engage. Good, sit back further, Rachel. You might need to lift your bum up a bit, but sit back as if you were in a chair. Come up higher. Breathe into this. Yes, so lift your chest back. I know. You look far too low and comfortable. Take a nice dig. You're a runner. Take a nice deep breath in. Exhale and forward fold. If anyone's got the thighs for it. Inhaling, lift to your flat back. Exhale, step back, chaturanga. Everybody just dislikes chair pose. Inhaling to upward dog or cobra. Exhale back to your downward dog. So on your inhale, step the right foot forwards, high lunge. Even here, connecting the head of the arm bones into the shoulder sockets as you take the arms up, connecting to that back foot. On your next exhale, turn to the left, Virabhadrasana 2. So keeping this connection to the back leg. So here, once we've connected to the back leg, we're softening into the front leg. We're trying to then externally rotate the front thigh. So push into the ball of the little toe on that right foot. Push down so you get that extra bit of external rotation. And soften your shoulders. And breathe and smile. To get down a little bit lower. Now on your inhale, push into the back leg and reach towards the front of the room. So we need extra back leg strength. Exhaling, open out, Parsvakonasana. So hand to the inside of the front leg and take the left arm up and over on the diagonal. See if you can look underneath your left armpit up towards the ceiling. And keep breathing. Yeah, I'm going to throw your balance completely. Notice if that weight has dumped into the front leg, use your bandhas. Push into the back foot. And now gracefully come back up to your warrior 2. Exhaling, lower the hands down, step back, chaturanga. Inhaling to upward dog or cobra. Exhaling back to downward dog. Inhale the left foot forward, so come into your high lunge. Exhaling, turn to the right, Virabhadrasana 2. You can do a whole workshop on these postures alone. So feel into the feet and think when you're holding the postures, if there's one specific area that's starting to burn, aggravate, you can always put your hands to your hips. It's not the end of the world. But see if you can then direct the energy away from that area, because the minute you start to focus on that bit going, it hurts, it's burning, all of your energy concentrates on that area. So use your intention. Okay, you lot are tense. Good. So soften into the front knee. Inhaling, reach towards the front of the room. So find length in that left side waist. Exhale, open out to Parsvakonasana. So find a long line from the right hand to the right foot. That nice diagonal stretch. Breathe into the spaces that feel a bit blocked. See if you can use your bandhas to lift out of any discomfort. Padabandha, Hastabandha, get the hands working, laser fingers. Inhaling, slowly come back up, coming into your warrior 2. Welcome back to yoga, Max. Exhaling, lower the hands down, step back, chaturanga. Inhaling to upward dog or cobra. Exhale back to your downward dog and hold it here. Good. On your inhale, step forwards, come into your flat back. Exhaling, fold down to Uttanasana. Bend your knees. On your inhale, sweep your arms up to Utkatasana. Exhaling, come to stand, bring the hands to the heart center in prayer. Inhale, sit back to Utkatasana. Endless flow. Exhale, forward fold. Inhaling, lift to your flat back. Exhaling, step back, chaturanga. Inhale, Urdhva Mukha Svanasana. Exhale, Ardha Mukha Svanasana. Inhale, the right foot forwards, high lunge. Exhaling, turn to the left, Virabhadrasana 2. So anchor into that back foot. Inhale, reach towards the front of the room. Exhaling, open out to Parsvakonasana. So you can bring the elbow to the knee if it's too much taking the hand down. Now we're going to take this top arm and we're going to wrap it round behind and take hold of the right thigh. Or if you can take the full bind, you're going to take the full bind. Good. So turning the gaze up towards the ceiling. Yes, Martha, take this left shoulder back. Yeah. Open this and then this arm can come round. There you go. Good. So Max, you're going to have fun lifting out of that one. Anchor into your back foot and lift up a little bit higher.
You said it.
Good. Release the bind. Inhale, come back up to your warrior 2. Exhaling, lower the hands down, step back, chaturanga. The getting out is always the fun bit. Inhaling to upward dog or cobra. Exhale back to downward dog. Inhale the left foot forward, so coming into your high lunge. Exhaling, turn to the right, Virabhadrasana 2. Anchor into this back foot. Soften into the front knee. Inhale, reach towards the front of the room. Exhaling, open out, Parsvakonasana. So we're trying to keep that anchor into the back foot and then reach the right arm round and take either the thigh or the bind. Notice what's happened with the weight because the legs don't change. It's just the upper body that's doing something different in an ideal world. And breathe. Good, so Stephanie, bend the front knee more. Yeah, and then you need to get this all the way down. Your arm needs to come down. And then the arm, yeah, there you go. Yes, releasing the bind. Inhale, come back up to your warrior 2. Exhaling, lower the hands down, step back, chaturanga. You got it. Inhaling to upward dog or cobra. Exhaling back to downward dog and come back to your breath. Good. On your inhale, step forwards, come into your flat back. Exhale, fold down to Uttanasana. Bend your knees. On your inhale, sweep your arms up to Utkatasana. Exhaling, come to stand, bring the hands to the heart center. So we're going to have a bit of fun. Bird of paradise pose. We haven't done this one for a while. Have you done this one? There's that face. There's a face of, oh, that one. Yay. You can do it. There are straps. If anybody wants to try doing it and they didn't get the full bind, we are going to add it into a flow, but we're going to do it static to start with. So you get to choose. If you don't know what I'm talking about, what we're going to be doing, we're going to start standing. We take the bind from standing, so it's a bit easier. We transfer the weight onto the one leg and lift the bound leg. So we come up to standing and then we work to straighten the top leg. That might not happen. It depends on your hamstrings. If I do it on the other side, I'm not sure it will. But so we're going to be doing it static to start with. See how you get on with it. If you then want to try it in the flow from Parsvakonasana, what we do is we come into it. We'll take the strap round. So if you couldn't quite get the bind, you can do it here. And we then step the back foot to the top of the mat and you can come up. Yeah? It's just a bit of fun. What I call fun. Does anybody want a strap to try doing this? How is your shoulder?
Clicky.
Clicky but not painful?
Yeah, it's got a liver, but it's all right actually.
Okay, good. Anybody else want a strap to try this?
No.
Doesn't matter though, it's just exploring, isn't it? It's just you. Are you okay? You're good. Right, everyone else, we're good. Okay, so let's try it just from standing to start with. Have you done this one before, Max?
No.
Excellent. Look, when you're teaching it, you're really grateful when you don't fall over in front of everybody. Can I just say that? Yeah. Doesn't always happen like that. Sometimes, oh, great, it was one of those. So stand with the feet slightly wider than hip distance. See if you can get the bind without the strap first on this, because it's a little bit easier. So soft bend into the knees, forward fold. So you then take the right arm on the inside of the right thigh. You get the shoulder right underneath, and then wrap the arm around behind you. So take your right arm round here. Yeah. Yes. So you bind at the thigh. We're trying to avoid the crutch area, which is what happens a lot. It does. Yeah. And then transfer the weight. See if you can come up to standing. And then work towards, so play with the drishti, with the gaze. No? It's tough. It's big. Just gonna go, no, I think that's fair. How are you getting on, Jess? No, you don't work, honestly. The thing is, you're balancing, you're then moving in the balance. So a lot of this is coming from the core. All of it, I always say this to everybody, but it's all coming from here. And if we get into it, the problem is the minute we do a forward fold, the core just turns off and we're like, right, it's about the feet, and then it's about the feet and about balancing without the core. That standing up comes from the core, you know, the whole lot, even the straightening the leg. If you haven't got the core connected, trying to straighten the leg up is really difficult. So try the other side. If you did it on one side, go on the left side. I saw you got it on that side, Lynn.
Just the same on this side.
Just try getting the bind. Yeah. Just practice. If you can't get up to standing, just practice taking the weight from one foot to the other. That's a whole practice on its own. Yeah, be mindful of this one if it's your dodgy shoulder, Tara.
Yeah.
Ah. How are you getting on?
Yeah.
Does it? What, stretching them or pinching them?
I think this one's quite tight, so.
Even with the strap?
I haven't tried it with the strap.
Oh, have you not? Give it a go. Right, we're just going to leave Kabir there. Just beautifully demonstrating at the front. So we shall try putting it into a flow. You can see now why, if you've dumped your weight into the front leg and you're sinking into this, especially, and then if you try and actually move anything, you're just going to be all over the place and you're going to nosedive. So really, we try and keep that connection. If it's too much, don't do it. Just practice, take the steps back and actually just practice working into a nice bind. Just play around with that with the strap, you know, there's no point. Sometimes we try and go into these complex postures and we haven't shifted the energy that's in the way of the one before yet. So actually we back off. And it's understanding what we're trying to do energetically with the posture as well, because once you get your head around that, actually the posture just follows. But energetically, there is a lot going on in that posture. So focus on the back leg, work into the bind. And if you're comfortable, then you can step forwards and come into it. Yeah, excellent. Come to the top of the mat. Because we haven't done enough chaturangas already. Inhaling, sit back to Utkatasana. Exhale, swan dive forwards to Uttanasana. Inhaling, lift to your flat back. Exhaling, step back, chaturanga. Inhale to Urdhva Mukha Svanasana. Exhale to Ardha Mukha Svanasana. Inhale the right foot forwards, high lunge. Exhale, turn to the left, Virabhadrasana 2. So back foot, inhale, reach towards the front of the room. Exhale, open out, Parsvakonasana. If you just want to stay elbow to knee and do the half bind, stay there. But otherwise, taking whichever variation of the bind you wish to take. Good. And if you've got the bind, now step the back foot to the top of the mat or do a couple of hops. Use your core. So once you're at the top of the mat, connect to the core and come up to standing. Good. Now, don't let go of the leg. Slowly lower the foot back down. Stay in the bind. And then step the left foot back, coming into your bound. Yes. On the inhale, release and come into warrior 2. Exhaling, lower the hands down. Step back, chaturanga. Inhale to upward dog or cobra. Exhale, back to downward dog. We get to do it all on the left side. Inhale the left foot forwards, come into your high lunge. Exhaling, turn to the right, Virabhadrasana 2. To anchor to the back foot, inhale, reach forwards. Exhaling, Parsvakonasana. So take the bind or just stay here and work into the half bind. When you've got the bind, move from the core. So use Mula Bandha, Uddiyana Bandha to lift the back foot. Good. And then slowly come up to standing. So holding it, if you can, for at least 3 breaths. Oh, is your first class back in how long? Good. And lower back down. It's really hot. I know. Step back and come into your warrior 2. Exhaling, lower the hands down, step back, chaturanga. Don't worry about it. Go and lie down. Inhaling to upward dog. Exhale, back to downward dog and hold it here. Stay there. It is hot. Yeah, it's that heat that starts to shift blocks in the body. You reckon in a sauna? See if you can soften into the discomfort. It can bring up, heat can bring up a lot of really punchy emotions. You can get really narky, really angry. It's like when they say someone's really hot-headed, really fiery. It can really bring up all that stuff. And actually, this is one of the things behind hot yoga. It's observing how we react to the heat. Letting it go. Just observing how it makes us feel. And on your inhale, step forwards, come into your flat back. Exhaling, fold down to Uttanasana. Bend your knees. Inhale, sweep your arms up to Utkatasana. Exhale, come to stand. Bring the hands to the heart center. Good. So coming back into Tadasana. Just observing the breath. So we're going to take the feet slightly wider than hip distance. Keep the feet parallel. Bring your hands onto your hips. Inhaling, roll the shoulders back, extending the spine. And on the exhale, fold forward. So coming through this lovely flat back, rounding the spine at the last minute, release the hands and take the yogi grip on the toes. So the 2 forefingers wrapped around the big toes. Tread the weight into the fingers. Inhale and look forwards. Push the tops of the thighs back. And as you exhale, draw your forehead towards your shins, pulling the elbows out to the side. So breathe all the way down to the heels. Use that exhalation to release tension, to soften into the stretch. Give your hamstrings permission to release. Good. So releasing the bind, inhale, come into a flat back. Good. So we're going to lift up the toes and slide the backs of the hands onto the mat and the palms of the hands under the feet. Tread up to the heel, up to the heels, up to the crease of the wrist. Again, inhaling, look forwards, push the tops of the thighs back, use the bandhas to create space. And as you exhale, forehead to shins. Do a long exhalation to release the tension. Just holding for a couple more breaths. And then release the bind, bring your hands onto your hips. And on your inhale, come up to standing. Arms down by your side into Tadasana. Inhale, floating the arms up. Exhale, swan dive forwards to Uttanasana. Inhaling, lift to your flat back. On the exhale, just step back to your downward dog. If you really want to do a chaturanga, you can. So from here, we're going to float the right leg up, coming into a 3-legged dog. Bending the right knee, turn out from the hip, bring the knee forwards. So I bring in the knee forwards towards the wrists, turning out from the hip, and then placing that right knee behind the right wrist and walk the left leg back down the mat. So we're going to walk the hands back alongside the hips. If it feels okay, if it doesn't, you can always just come down onto the forearms and just rest. Listen to your body. Again, allow the release. If you want to go deeper into it, you can work on the back leg if you have something that you're working into. Otherwise, just breathe. Is your knee okay in this? Your knee feel all right? Yeah.
Yeah.
So what I want you to do is just put your weight into your hands and lift this knee out to the side slightly. There. How's that? Okay. A little bit. As long as the knee feels okay. Then bringing both hands back to the mat. Tuck the back toe. Lift up the back knee and step back into your downward dog. Just take a moment and feel. Then floating the left leg. So bending the left knee, bring it forwards, turn out from the hip. So we place the knee behind the left wrist. And then walk the right leg down the mat. How's it feeling? Huh? It is hot, yeah. There's no air. I have opened the door, but hasn't it? No. Yeah, we need a good rain, don't we? Go and do yoga in the rain outside. So working into whatever variation you did on the other side. If you're working with the back leg, then by all means, if you have something you're working on. Otherwise, give this body the permission to release. You know, we want these strong bodies and we're like, yeah, I want to get my muscles nice and strong and healthy, but then we expect them to just let go. Give it permission to let go. Notice as well what the rest of the body is communicating. So if we're in a posture and we're upright and we're clenching our jaw and there's tension in the shoulders, we're communicating to the body that it's not safe to let go. That's one, and when the breath starts to shorten, a really good sign is when you hold your breath and you're like, how long are we here for? Because what happens then is we're saying to the body, it's not safe, I'm not safe. Your body's not going to release, it's not going to expand and open. We can bully it, but it will hurt. So you can back down, come onto the elbows, just find a position that actually it feels safe, it feels okay to let go. And then bringing both hands to the mat. Your knee all right? Yeah. Step back into your downward dog. It's just not worth it if the knees are funny. And just feel. So we're going to step the legs through and go jump. If you practice jump throughs, go for it and come to sitting with the legs out in front. We did a class on that last week at Mellow-View and everybody just descended into chaos. Have we done it? Have I done it with you guys? Yeah. With the blocks and the blankets. I think we're due to do it again soon. So from here, we're going to come into Dandasana. So find that point on the sitting bones where we're balanced onto the top, almost tipping forwards on them. Often when we sit down, you might even find you need to bend the knees a little bit to get to that point. Often we can end up rolling back onto the tailbone. So sitting up nice and tall, hands down by the side of the hips, strong spine. Again, feel the shoulder blades connecting. So from here, we're going to walk the hands back about a hand's length or a little bit further and try and keep the fingertips pointing forwards. Anyone with dodgy shoulders, by all means, turn the hands the other way around because this might be a bit too much. Or if your shoulders are dodgy, do the bent knee variation because it will put less strain onto them. Otherwise, we're going to come into our upside down planks. So pointing the toes, activate through the feet, active through the core. And as you inhale, lifting the hips, try and get the toes to the mat and take the gaze up towards the ceiling. Be mindful not to just throw the head back. See if you can lift the heart up. Can you lift the chest up? Point the toes to lift the hips. Go on, Max, get all the toes pointed. Yes. Nice deep breath in. And on the exhale, come back to sitting, nice strong staff pose. Hands alongside your hips. Your wrists okay? Get distracted. One more variation. Hands back. So again, if you want to do the bent knee one, you're just bending the knees and coming up. Otherwise, straight leg again and holding just for 5 breaths. So point the toes. Pressing down into the feet. Lift from core. Lifting yourself back and holding for 5 breaths. So if it feels a lot in the shoulders, see if you can activate more through the legs, through the feet. Lengthen up through the crown of the head. Observe the quality of the breath. Good. And on your exhale, come back to sitting. Hands by the side, coming into Dandasana. So bending the right knee. Let the right knee fall out to the side, bringing the sole of the foot onto the inside of the left thigh. So flexing the toes back on the left foot, knees and toes pointing up. Sit up nice and tall. Inhale and take the arms up. And exhale, fold forwards. So again, working with your breath, finding length. Each inhalation, see if you can lift the waist up out of the hips. Use the bandhas to get that direction. And as you exhale, soften and release. Good. And on your inhale, come up to sitting. So changing legs, my words just lost me. Left knee out to the side, flexing the right foot. So active through the right thigh. Inhale, take the arms up. And exhale, forward fold. So we lift and lengthen as we fold. So we can use the hands to encourage the stretch, but also lift through the pelvic floor. Lift the tummy button back towards the spine and up into the rib cage, and feel how that lengthens through the front body. Breathe and then soften into it. Inhaling, come back up to sitting. So from here, crossing the left leg underneath and the right leg over the top. Sit on a block if you need to, but we need both sitting bones down. So use one of the foam bricks if you need to. Both sitting bones equally onto the block. So we're doing a nice long spine before we twist. So taking the right hand behind you on the mat. Inhale and take the left arm up. So lift and lengthen. And then as you exhale, twist from the rib cage and turn, and then hook the elbow over the knee. So then lengthen up through the back of the neck and turn the gaze over the right shoulder. So that back hand, rather than leaning into it, we're using it to try and get a little bit more lift. Push down through the sitting bones and inhale and lengthen up through the crown of the head. If you work into the bind in this, then by all means work into the bind. So Rachel, get the arm over the thigh. Yeah, that's it. To get into the bind, you need to have that knee back right towards the armpit, is generally a good indicator. Otherwise, you need an extra elbow. Good. So once you're in the bind, you're then lifting up Taking the shoulders back. Good. Then on the inhale, release and come back to face forwards. So we're just going to cross the legs. So just taking that right leg across, so you bring the knees on top of each other. It's really comfortable, this one. We're not doing the arms with it, we're just doing the bottom half. So sitting up nice and tall. And on the exhale, walk the hands forwards. Good, isn't it? Just reaches some good bits. Yeah. You're smiling. The yoga postures are so cleverly designed to reach the nooks and crannies of where we hide our stuff. And we have so much stuff to hide these days. We hold on to stuff. The hips are a huge place for that. So we observe the sensations the same way we observe the sounds, the same way as we observe the thoughts. We sink back behind them and we just observe. If we focus just on that epicenter of the stretch, we draw the energy into that space. So move your focus further down the legs, up the back. Observe the whole body. Notice if there's any tension through the face and the shoulders, let that go. Our yoga is definitely hotter than other people's yoga. That's a fact today. So inhaling, slowly come back up. So when we have those blocks in the body and we hold our stuff, if we come forwards and all I'm thinking is, oh my God, it hurts, it hurts, it hurts. And I start to tense here, I'm blocking the energy flow in my body. I blocked it because I'm literally, it's like, oh, it hurts, it hurts. So you back out slightly and you soften. And that's why just noticing what's happening in the feet, the fingers, the face, the jaw, because all of that travels down. You tense your jaw, you immediately tense here. Tenses, all travels down, which then tenses into the pelvic floor and into the hips. So it's really interesting to observe, really lovely practice to do. So let's swap onto the other side. Well, yin yoga is rather lovely. We need to talk, actually. Good. Yeah, so taking the left hand behind you on the mat. Inhale, taking the right arm up. So that twist comes from the rib cage, twist around, and then hook the right elbow over the left knee and turn your gaze over the left shoulder. So if you worked into the bind on the other side, take a few breaths and then come into the bind on this side. On your inhale, come back to face forwards. So again, crossing the legs so the knees come on top, one on top of the other. It might be enough just to stay here. See how it feels, sitting up nice and tall. And on your exhale, walk the hands forwards. So come into that, when you start to feel the stretch, and observe, just observe the feet, the hands, the jaw, the shoulders. You can still softly use the bandhas without aggressively gripping. The bandhas are such a subtle activation. Often we can turn them on too much and we cause tension. They're just a subtle energetic lift. Love Alan Watts. And then slowly coming back up to sitting. So from here, just find a comfortable sitting position. Hands rested either into your lap or onto your thighs. And we're going to finish the last few minutes just sitting in meditation. So we come back to this center of self and we observe the sounds, the thoughts, the breath. Yeah, just gently bringing the hands in front of the heart center into prayer. Take a moment just to say thank you to this body. Observe any sensations you might feel as you show love and gratitude to this body for holding you, for holding on to all your stuff. Say thank you. And then we'll close the class chanting 3 Oms together. So take a nice breath in for Om. Gently bowing your head to your higher self. Namaste. Thank you all.